Hey everybody, Mr. the Fanboy here, back for another video, and this is my late, out-of-date review of the March 9th edition of Impact Wrestling. This is also my salute and my thoughts on Impact Wrestling post the March 9th show. This is my thoughts on the new TNA because this is the brand new TNA under Jeff Jarrett. Under Jeff Jarrett. This is the first TNA after all of the departures of the wrestlers who have departed in the past couple of weeks. And with that being said, what a phenomenal episode of Impact Wrestling it was. It sucks that Sandow and Spud were nowhere near this episode, nor was Goddard's or Robbie E. But this was still a phenomenal episode of Impact Wrestling. First off, we started the show off with an awesome old school package highlighting TNA's 15-year existence, showing everything from 2002 all the way till rather recently. And I love this promo because this promo reminded me of the old TNA. One thing I used to love about the old TNA was the biblical promo hype packages they did for pay-per-views and episodes of Impact, and what they used to hype storylines. They brought that back after getting rid of it. They brought that back after getting rid of it for a while, and boy, what an awesome highlight show! What an awesome highlight show to start the show. Then, of course, the show starts off with Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards brawling. I didn't care much for this segment, but it was pretty good. Here's the segment I care much for. Before I start, I'm gonna start off already. I was kind of getting sick of Josh Matthews as a babyface, and I love him as a heel. The problem I had with Josh Matthews as a babyface was at first he was good, but then it was right around lockdown of last year where when Rockstar Spud turned on EC3, he said Rockstar Spud turned on Matt Hardy and cost Matt Hardy the title. So he started messing up lines, and he continued. He continued and started getting worse and worse on commentary. I'm finally happy they turned him heel. He's much better. He's much better as a heel. He's much better as a heel, and he shows much more personality, and he's much better when it comes to his lines and stuff. He doesn't mess up his lines as much, and I love the three-man commentary thing. That reminds me of old school WCW in the mid to late '90s with the three-man commentary teams. I love that. I love the baby face. I love when Jeremy Borash came out. I loved Josh Matthews did a good job healing it up. Then Jeremy Borash cut an awesome babyface promo to the roar of the Impact Zone crowd. And speaking of the Impact Zone, I was just watching the Nerd Corps review of this show, and it said I thought there was only one Impact Zone, but it turns out they're at another Impact Zone. They're at the old Impact Zone. So that's real good. But like I said, I hope they get some more money so they can start touring. Of course, Slammiversary this year. I hope Slammiversary and Bound for Glory this year are in different places. I hope Slammiversary is in Dallas like it usually is, and Bound for Glory is, well, Bound for Glory they usually go to multiple places. Pretty much anywhere with a stadium where they can make money. So yeah, this was that. Then off to our very first match of the night. The very first match of the night was a brand new tag team called Reno Scum, which featured two indie which features two indie wrestlers. Also, before I continue with that, there was a segment involving Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, who who came out with his GFW Next Gen title to call out Moose, but a Moose was apparently in Japan. Then comes the Reno Scum versus the DCC, Kingston and Bram. Kingston and Bram. The Reno Scum defeat Kingston and Bram in 2 minutes with one of the wrestlers putting um Kingston in a STFU in a STF like maneuver, and the other guy and the other guy coming off the top rope with a double foot stomp for the 1, 2, 3. The DCC bicker after the match, but they eventually hug and make up and leave the ring. Next, this is Sienna tells the new backstage interviewer Mackenzie Mitchell that she explains Maria's absence. That Maria, after what happened last week, Maria had a nervous breakdown. So this is how they're gonna write Maria out of the storyline since she left. Since her and Mike Bennett parted ways with TNA. That was a great way to write her out of the storyline. Then of course next was Braxton. Next was, oh yes, love this match. This was one of the matches of the night. Braxton Sutter versus Marshe Rockett, the debuting Caleb Conley, and DJ Z in an awesome X Division four-way match, fatal four-way match. Even Ali at one point hit a crossbody on Rockett. Sutter hit a spinning fisherman buster on Marche for the 1, 2, 3. Really happy to see Caleb Conley, who I've seen here in Georgia for a promotion called Anarchy Wrestling. Finally happy to see him debut on TNA, and just an awesome match. Marshe Rockett. I've been watching this guy for several weeks and huge fan of this guy. This guy reminds me of not only does he remind me of young Booker T, he has a moveset similar to him. He reminds me of a young Primetime Elite Skipper, an X Division wrestler. Loki and Dane was his tag team partner, Triple X, from back in the day, back in the old TNA. He reminds me of that guy. What an awesome match. After the match, Laurel Van Ness came out to the stage and pointed at Sutter and Ali as they celebrated. Then next is Sienna versus um versus Raquel Ellering, who I think she is the daughter of Paul Ellering. Um Paul Ellering. This was a pretty good knockouts match. It was overshadowed by Josh and JB commentating on bickering on commentary. Next is Bruce Pritchard came out and cut a heel promo and talked about how great Impact was and all the top stars how all the top stars have left, and he eventually he introduces the champion Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley. Pritchard says there's no one backstage that can beat Lashley. Then out comes Alberto El Patron. El Patron starts to get into it, but then EC3 comes out. EC3C says a wrestler just can't walk in and get a title match. He has to earn it. Ethan brags about himself being a top guy for the last 3 years, and he challenges Lashley tonight. Lashley completely undermines him and tells him he already beats him, and Pritchard books Lashley versus El Patron for later tonight, and EC3 is of course stunned. Next is yeah, of course, there's this backstage segment with Eddie Edwards and Angelina Love where she slaps him and Eddie Edwards mocks her and tells her that love that why does she hits harder than Davey. Next is Cody is back. Cody is looking for Cody is back looking for Moose, and he tosses his title in the ring as security tries to control him. Next, oh yeah, Dutch Mantel rolls out on the rep and he cuts a promo. First, I love this promo. He first mentions how former wrestlers like AJ Styles, Joe, Bobby Roode, Sting, Kurt Angle, Kevin Nash, Booker T, how they all left because of lack of leadership and respect. And he goes on to say a lot of the fans have left, and he talks about how he's gonna make Impact Wrestling good again. And then I also love the dig at WWE where he says in an alternate universe he was known as Zeb Coulter, but everyone knows that he is Dutch Mantel. And he's been in the wrestling business for a long time, and then he does his thing. He tells the fans to stand up, and he says, "We the people will make Impact Wrestling great again. We'll make Impact Wrestling great again." Then next we see oh yeah, we see footage of the Hardys fighting a kangaroo, and more stuff with Vanguard One, and the Hardys have now been and and then some transportation happens, and we see the case show up at the Impact Zone and find the tag team titles laying on the floor in front of them. The Hardy Boys have now been deleted. This is how they explain their the Hardys' absence. Who, of course, the Hardys parted ways with TNA a week ago. Now for the main event. And that was the World Heavyweight Championship match between Alberto El Patron versus the defending champion Bobby Lashley. What a phenomenal match! What a phenomenal match it was. Alberto Del Rio wins when he hits Lashley with the belt. Lashley complains to the referee that what Alberto Del Rio did. The referees try to stop Alberto Del Rio, but he's too busy celebrating. Then later on, after the show went off on TNA's YouTube channel, they have what happened after Impact, and Earl Hebner and Bruce Pritchard retrieve the title from Alberto Del Rio. Glad they did that because I was kind of angry that Alberto Del Rio defeated Lashley for the title. I don't like Alberto Del Rio, even though he is outside of WWE, he is awesome outside of WWE. But I can't stand Alberto Del Rio. I'm still mad at him for what he did to the AAA promotion, leaving. First off, not putting over Johnny Morrison or Mundo, and leaving with the belt, leaving with the belt, and this guy is just, well, in WWE he was just so damn boring and lame in WWE that I had no interest in seeing him, even though, like I said, outside of WWE he's awesome, and he was awesome tonight. But yeah, this is not the guy I want to see. This is not the guy I want to beat Lashley. So yeah, but like I said, what an awesome episode of Impact Wrestling. I'm already loving the new era of TNA under Jeff Jarrett. Like I said, I hope Magnus returns, since they're bringing back a lot of wrestlers. As you can see in the upcoming spoiler editions of Impact, they're bringing back a lot of wrestlers. I hope Magnus returns. I'm kind of saddened that Josh Barnett, the MMA fighter, he was only in sorry about that. He was only in Impact Wrestling for that for those two matches. He's not part of the roster. He's not part of the roster. I went online to check, and he's not part of the roster. Next is yeah. Hold on for a moment. Sorry, my nose was runny. Yeah, but like I said, yeah, disappointed that he's not part of the a permanent part of the roster. But then again, he's probably only in TNA for his suspension because I think he got caught with some kind of doping program, and I think TNA is what he's doing while he is suspended, and he'll be back in the UFC. I'm actually surprised UFC allowed him to work Impact shows because remember back in 2006, Kurt Angle was supposed to debut in the UFC, but Dana White came here. Oh, Kurt, you're gonna be either you're gonna be real or fake. You're gonna be real or fake, and Kurt Angle, well, he was guaranteed a spot in TNA, so he went with TNA. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So Awesome Silver Impact, already loving the new era of loving the new era of TNA. Sad to see all those previous names go, but I'm really excited for this new era of TNA. What a phenomenal addition of Impact Wrestling. Well, I'm done for now.